On July 4th, 2007, as America celebrated its 231st birthday, a new era began in the world of competitive eating. For years, the sport had been dominated by one man, a seemingly intractable juggernaut. But on that Independence Day, on a sun-splashed stage in Coney Island, that legend was finally bested, vanquished by a rising star who would go on to cement himself as the greatest competitive eater the world has ever seen. While competitive eating's popularity has exploded in recent years, it's actually a sporting tradition that goes back generations. As a matter of fact, competitive eating's most celebrated and prestigious competition, Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest out in Coney Island, began more than a half-century ago. The first official contest took place on Independence Day, 1972. Unofficially, the contest was inaugurated in 1916, but that origin story was just a marketing ploy, it turned out. The point is, eating contests have been around a long time, but as the new millennium arrived, competitive eating and Nathan's annual contest was being overtaken by a force previously unseen in the space. A competitor who would take the sport to new, unimaginable heights. Takeru the Tsunami Kobayashi. Hailed as the godfather of competitive eating, Kobayashi burst onto the scene in his native Japan, where his myriad gastrointestinal feats included downing 16 bowls of ramen in 1 hour. But he soon became an international sensation thanks to his unprecedented ability and innovative technique. See, it was Kobayashi who pioneered the so-called Solomon method, which eventually became the definitive approach for downing hot dogs in a competitive environment. Basically, you separate the hot dog from the bun, eat the wiener first, and then down the bun after dunking it in water. It is absolutely revolting to watch, and it's highly effective. And it was this technique that helped make Kobayashi, at one point, the greatest competitor that Nathan's had ever seen. On July 4th, 2001, in his first appearance at the US's premier eating competition, Kobayashi put on a performance for the ages. Over the course of 12 minutes, the 131-pound phenom inhaled 50 hot dogs, obliterating the competition and shattering the previous world record of 25. It was, no exaggeration, one of the most dominant displays in sports history. And a spokesman for the International Federation of Competitive Eating even noted afterward that Kobayashi had just redefined the sport. And indeed, the game had been changed that day, but Kobayashi's reign was just getting started. For the next half-decade, anyone with the stomach to compete on July 4th was vying for second place at best. From 2002 through 2006, Kobayashi went undefeated at Nathan's, smashing the competition year after year, repeatedly breaking his own records, and becoming competitive eating's first truly transcendent star. However, in 2006, for the first time ever, Kobayashi actually had some real competition. That year, an up-and-coming sophomore named Joey Chestnut gave Kobayashi a run for his money. Chestnut had exploded onto the competitive eating scene the year prior, putting himself on the map by eating 6.5 pounds of fried asparagus in 12 minutes for his first official victory. In the wake of that triumph, the Kentucky native known as Jaws made his first appearance at Nathan's in 2005, where he finished in 3rd place after sucking down 32 hot dogs. However, Chestnut elevated his game in a huge way in 2006, upping his pace dramatically in what ended up being a neck-and-neck competition with Kobayashi. And although it was the all-time great who prevailed, winning by a margin of 1 3/4 hot dogs, Chestnut's performance was monumental nevertheless. With a grand total of 52 hot dogs consumed, Chestnut established a new US record. More significantly though, he had put Kobayashi and the competitive eating world on notice. Joey Chestnut had arrived. Over the ensuing year, Chestnut only bolstered his profile, rising to the #2 ranked eater in the world after logging victories in competitions ranging from pulled pork to tamales to Waffle House waffles. And get this, in a Nathan's qualifying match ahead of Independence Day 2007, Chestnut set a new world record for hot dogs eaten in 12 minutes, 59.5. So when July 4th finally arrived, the winds of change were blowing throughout Coney Island. Kobayashi finally had a worthy adversary, with Chestnut representing a genuine threat to unseat the 6-time champion and bring the mustard belt back to America.
She is the gyoza eating, Waffle House waffle eating, deep fried asparagus eating, chicken wing eating champion of the world. From San Jose, California, the contender, Joey Chestnut.
And listen to that crowd. They definitely want to see the mustard belt come back to the U.S.
Yeah, the Chestnut hype was real. And not only did Chestnut have the crowd on his side, but Kobayashi came into the competition with a sore jaw. The stage was certainly set for a changing of the guard. And what ensued was pure theater. Pure, disgusting theater. As the competition unfolded, Kobayashi, despite his sore jaw, looked no worse for the wear. He was putting the glizzies back at his usual remarkable pace, but so was the top contender, Joey Chestnut. It quickly became clear that this was going to be a two-horse race, and 2/3 of the way into the 12-minute showdown, both Kobayashi and Chestnut had housed at least 10 more hot dogs than the third fastest competitor. Heading into the home stretch though, it was Chestnut, not Kobayashi, that had the lead.
Okay, so we are nearing the 3-minute mark. Joey just a dog above, and Kobayashi now bringing it in the final quarter.
And there we go. Chestnut has a new record for Nathan's. He broke the old one set by Kobayashi, 53 3/4, as he goes through 54.
However, with 1 minute left on the clock, Kobayashi's deficit was gone and the two titans were in lockstep. This thing was going down to the wire.
And now here is the countdown to the championship. It's neck and neck.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, well, we got a photo finish.
That could have been a DQ. That's a Kobayashi reversal within the framework of the competition. I'm afraid the judges are going to call that. That is up to the judges. We have 2 judges, and that, Paul, is the spray zone. Unbelievable valor from that man right there, Joey Chestnut. He may indeed have changed the course of this nation, righted the course of our nation. Chestnut is a true American hero.
Okay, it's obviously impossible to tell in real time who came out on top, but there's 2 things I should explain. 1, whatever's in your mouth when the buzzer sounds counts towards your total, and 2, a reversal, or in layman's terms, vomiting, is an automatic disqualification. Now, during that last second mad dash, the commentators noted that Kobayashi may have indeed committed a reversal, but again, that was hard to determine conclusively. Ultimately, this was going to come down to the judges, who had to rule on whether Kobayashi was indeed disqualified and had to compute just how many hot dogs each contestant housed in that last second frenzy. Their decision? History.
In second place with 63 hot dogs and buns, Takeru Kobayashi.
Chestnut has done it.
However, in first place, with 66 hot dogs and buns, Joey Chestnut!
He did it! With a final tally of 66 hot dogs, Chestnut had set a new world record and had finally slayed the dragon of competitive eating, Kobayashi, who was not disqualified but finished with a grand total of 63 hot dogs. For the first time since 1999, the mustard belt was back in American hands. And in finally vanquishing Kobayashi, Chestnut began his reign as the world's preeminent competitive eater, a run that put Kobayashi's once unimaginable success to shame. Following his breakthrough victory in 2007, Chestnut went on to win the contest 15 times in the next 16 years. During that epic run, Chestnut repeatedly broke his own record for most hot dogs eaten, topping out at 76 in 2021, and his lone defeat during that time came at the hands of Matt Stoney, another legend in his own right. And although Chestnut was actually banned from participating at Nathan's in 2024 due to a contractual dispute, snapping his streak of consecutive victories at 8, the 41-year-old returned to Coney Island in 2025 to much fanfare and the delight of the competitive eating world. But Chestnut's dominance and accomplishments extend well beyond hot dogs. Over the course of his now 2-decade-long career, Chestnut has set more than 50 world records for eating, including the most Taco Bell tacos eaten in 10 minutes, the most bologna slices eaten in 8 minutes, and the most Twinkies eaten in 6 minutes. According to Major League Eating, the organization that oversees competitive eating globally, Chestnut is the greatest eater in history. And there's no debate as to when he started authoring that legacy in earnest. It was on July 4th, 2007, the day that Jaws proved himself invulnerable to a tsunami. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, smash that subscribe button.